What's up, guys? We are back to talk yet again because they just don't stop. They don't stop. We are talking another reveal of Super 7 Ultimates, but it's not just Ultimates. It's again an entire license that they are finally able to move into toys with. So of course we're talking about GI Joes, and Super 7's had some sort of license with Joes for a while. They did shirts, and they've done glasses, drinkware, that kind of stuff. So all the non-toy stuff that Super 7 does. But of course, now we're getting Ultimates, we're getting Reaction. And I was pretty much of the opinion that this was coming anyway. You know, Mezco revealed G.I. Joe and Power Rangers. Then Super 7 revealed Power Rangers. Super 7 had Transformers. So it was kind of obvious that this was going to be the big thing. And when they said it was going to be a July reveal, well, that's a very patriotic month in some respects. You know, it's obviously not patriotic specifically today, but July 4th, it all kind of makes sense that it was going to be something Joe related. A lot of this sort of thunder was stolen, I think, because Reaction listings went up live, or were found rather, in Target's system not too long ago. And I think maybe they had to sort of change things up because the reveal was a bunch of teases over time and not just one big reveal. But here we are. So we are getting our first look at the G.I. Joe stuff. And I've said this in, I would say, damn near every classified series review that I've done. I have never been a G.I. Joe collector. I love the property and I loved the cartoon, but as a kid I didn't have the toys. I had too much other shit, according to my mom. So we didn't have those toys. I had everything else, but I never had Joe's, and I always latched on to the cartoon because that was what I got. And this is what we're getting, and I couldn't be more excited about this because, well, it just works. It works in this format, and it's one of those things that when you think about it, it makes sense for Super 7 because Hasbro's re-releasing vintage style Joes, and then of course they're doing classified, and then those are a more realistic take on things. So what else is there to be done? It's obviously going to be something cartoon related, which very much fits into the Super 7 mold. So we're getting Duke, we're getting Snake Eyes, we're getting Cobra Commander, and we're getting the Bat. Right out of the gate, we're getting 2 and 2, so 2 good guys, 2 bad guys. And I'm really excited about these. Not only do I think they look fantastic, but they come with so much stuff, which of course is maybe not to be unexpected because that's kind of the hallmark that we've seen, and it's sort of just ramped up like crazy as figures and waves and lines have come out. Some of the stuff has been pretty stacked. Turtles is pretty stacked. Thundercats have been pretty stacked, but it seems like they're just trying to cram more and more and more into everything, and it's pretty obvious here as well. So we've got, to start with, we've got Snake Eyes, which is probably, you know, maybe the one that I've seen a lot of confusion over. This is his like early cartoon look where he's basically just blue. And it's a very different look. It's a very basic look for Snake Eyes, but I think he looks fantastic. And it's again, it's one of those things that it's an animation look. So it's true to the source. I'm happy with that one. And obviously we'll get a black version later, maybe as an exclusive or something like that. But of course he also comes with Timber, and this is the big thing that sort of started all the Ultimates push, is that was how they teased it initially, was showing us that Timber. And he looks great. He looks very cel-shaded. A lot of this I'm kind of going back to, in some ways, the NECA Turtles line when it comes to the cartoon stuff. That's a little bit more obviously animation with the sort of way that they cut the figures down the back and do the sort of shadow and light side. But this is obviously a very cartoon palette, very cartoon color scheme. So I'm really excited about that. And a lot of that comes through with Timber. I think he looks really good. And then there's just tons of accessories in all these. You've got Duke as well, which, if you have to pick another good guy, that's probably one of the 2 that I would have picked, either him or Flint if it's going to be personally, either Duke or Flint to start out with, and I think Duke is a really good choice. He's got a really, really solid expression on one of those head sculpts, this kind of yelling one. He's got the pointing finger. We've got guns. We've got extra hands. There's just tons and tons of stuff crammed into this box. Of course, these guys are going to fit that Ultimate style mold. So we've got single jointed elbows. You've got single jointed knees. I am still of the opinion that it really isn't a big deal for me. We've got classified if it needs to scratch the itch for a more dynamic thing. But these, for me, are the figures that are going to go alongside my He-Man stuff, my Motu Classics. It's all that. I consider this all one big line. And this is a neat addition to that because I'm going to be able to have He-Man alongside Lion-O, alongside Quicksilver, alongside Leonardo, and then I can throw Duke or Snake Eyes in there, and I can have this crazy 80s mashup that are all going to scale together and be sort of the same. So I'm really excited about that possibility. And then on the Cobra side of the house, of course, you have to go with one of the big guys when it comes to the Wave 1. So they went with Cobra Commander, which of course kind of makes sense. Hasbro went with Destro for Wave 1, so they're going a little different here. We get the big bad himself, and he looks fantastic. He's got the pink cape flowing. He comes with that really specific the Cobra that's encircling the globe accessory, which looks fantastic. He's got two heads, one with and one without the silver stripe. Guns, hands, the whole deal. And this guy just looks fantastic. In this particular color scheme, in this particular format, I think he's going to work just exceptionally well. But the star of this entire show is easily the Bat. And I'm not saying that just because it's a cool looking design to begin with, because the bats are awesome in the vintage line. They were cool on the cartoon. I love my SUPER7 Super Cyborg bat, and this thing looks wild. He's got a million accessories that are in there. We've got battle damage, so you've got like a laser blast hole through one head. You've got one with like electricity shooting out of it. You've got a neck that is without a head and it just has like electricity bolts shooting out. He's of course got guns and hands and all of that stuff. I mean, these guys are fully loaded when it comes to accessories. This one is definitely the one that has captured my attention most because it looks to be the most visually interesting. It's also got the sort of the clear chest compartment, so you've got a recessed area on the chest with all of that relief sculpt in there, and then you've got the clear plastic over top of it, which of course is kind of a unique thing. So I'm curious and worried about how many I'm going to want to have. I have way too many SUPER7 foot soldiers, which I harp on quite a bit, but this is going to be another one of those things where I really like that design and it's going to translate into figure form hopefully very well. Like I said, the Super Cyborg is really cool, so have like, oh boy, have that flanked by a handful of not classified, but Ultimates bats, and then when classified comes with their bats, have those, throw a vintage one on it, and have just a pyramid down of various bats. But I think these things look great. They are up for pre-order now, and they come out tentatively 8 or 9 months from now. Brian Flynn has said that they're already on track as far as tooling to get these things going sooner than usual. So we might see them sooner than later. I think the pre-order is showing that they're going to be delivered in like July of 2022, but there seems to be an indication that we might see those sooner. They're just sort of erring on the side of caution, which I can appreciate. But they're $55 each. There's no oddball pricing in this particular wave. Even with Snake Eyes coming with Timber, he is still the same price, despite the fact that there's obviously a lot of stuff in his particular box. So $55 each going forward, and you can get them on SUPER7 Direct. You got to pay up front for those. Big Bad, Entertainment Earth have them as well. I think Dorkside does as well, and then those are all pay when they ship. But we also got Reaction, and I have to talk about Reaction at least a little bit because they're going at these in a really interesting way. So not only do they come on very vintage style card backs with new artwork by Jason Edmiston. He did the artwork for the Motu Reaction, which I'm a big fan of. He did the artwork on Snake Mountain's box as well. But we get a really crazy assortment that I just want to talk about. So we're getting a bunch of actual normal characters like Snake Eyes and Scarlet and Destro, you know, some big heavy hitters, but we're also getting Quinn, which is an odd one. I don't know if, is he considered kind of an off the beaten path kind of character? I guess he probably is. But he's an interesting one, which I'm confused as to why he's in there. It seems like that just might be one of those that they're a favorite of him. He's a favorite of theirs, so they threw him in, which I'm all for, to get some of those weirder characters out sooner rather than later. But the way they're doing army builders in this wave is really crazy. So we're getting green shirts in Wave 1 Reaction, but they're coming with different flesh tones to be like an actual army, because you could army build the same guy 1,000 different times, but he's just clones everywhere. In an actual army, of course, people are going to look a little bit different. So I like the idea there, but they go even crazier with the Cobra Trooper because there are 6 of those. It's the same situation when it comes to the color scheme. So every version gets a 3 different skin tones. So there's kind of like a white guy, there's like a brown guy, there's a black guy, there's all of that, depending on what kind of nationality you want to give your particular troopers, because of course Cobra is going to pull from all over the world. But they also have different suspender backs. So you've got a Y shape and an H shape, which is one of those like weird things that pop up in and out of the cartoon. So that's kind of an odd thing that they kind of just threw in there. But it's also cool that you can have this really dense army if you want to, while also having them be slightly different throughout the ranks. So it's just kind of a cool little idea. Those come out in September, and they'll be up for pre-order. If they're not already up for pre-order at Big Bad and places like that, they will be, but they're just going to go up for sale straight on Super7's website in September, and then they'll just be out, because they come far earlier than Ultimates, obviously. So yeah, that's our reveals right now. This is I believe what they've been teasing as their big July thing. I do think that the wind kind of got taken out of their sails when it came to those reaction listings popping up at Target, but I'm no less excited about this. I think the Ultimates look fantastic. I'm really happy about the character selection. 2 really good guys, 2 really good bad guys with a ton of accessories. Even the boxes look great as usual, with all the slipcovers and all the pomp and circumstance that goes along with an Ultimates release. But I'm really excited for them. Again, this is kind of like my G.I. Joe when it comes to the versions that I want, just because I didn't have the toys. I appreciated them. I played with friends' toys when I was a kid, but I really never had any. So my Joes were just watching the cartoon. So it's nice to finally get, what is hopefully going to be a very far-reaching line that I don't necessarily need to buy into yet again, but here we are. So let me guys know what you think. I'm curious what people's thoughts are. I'm really curious what really hardcore Joe fans think about this. I don't know how many of those watch my channel, but if you do, I would love your thoughts on what these specifically are and what they're pulling from and which particular characters we're getting first. So that's it, guys. I'll catch you next time.